Hi, my name is Don Jessup, and I want to talk to you about a horse that's explosive and how to deal with that explosive energy, how to train that away so you don't have to deal with it in the future. Now, this horse, his name is Casanova. We're actually going to have to rename him because that's kind of a clever, fun name. But names are important to me. If a horse has a specific name that brings up a certain emotion in you when you think about it. Like Casanova is a player, and that's kind of fun. But I want a horse that feels sweet and kind. So I'm gonna think of another name for him in the future. Maybe you can help by commenting. Now, here's what the deal is with Casanova. He's quite calm and sweet, and he'll walk around and he'll be really calm and sweet. But there are triggers that cause him to become explosive. And we're going to see if we can find those triggers to show you what I mean, and then help him learn how to not react under those kind of circumstances. Because ultimately, I want to be able to go out and chase cows or go do some kind of fancy maneuver in a competition, and there's all these horses around and all this energy is around. I want to go on trails, I want to cross water. And if he's explosive, I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? So first thing I'm going to look for is triggers. I've got him saddled. He looks calm. He's going to go for a little walk with me. I'm just going to sort of circle him here, ask him into motion. And I watch him move around here. And I think to myself, you know, he looks pretty calm. So I think maybe I could ride this horse. But that's where we get in trouble. Is we do just a tiny little bit and we assume the horse is good. So what I'm going to ask him to do is do a little more. I'm going to ask him to trot. I'm going to ask him to canter. I'm going to ask him to deal with energy. I'm going to ask him to deal with the rope. We've got flags and tarps, all kinds of stuff that I'm going to do to sort of test where his triggers are. And usually with a horse that's explosive, those triggers, those things that make them explosive, they don't happen while the horse is standing still. They happen while the horse is in motion. Just yesterday I was on another horse and I was trotting along and she just bolted right out from under me. And I mean, we stayed together, but it was a instant little jump. And that's usually when it happens. It's when you're walking or trotting and all of a sudden, whoom, out of the blue, they say. But the truth is there's no such thing as out of the blue. There's just some subtle, minor detail that causes that horse to sort of go, I can't do this anymore. We're going to look for that. I'm just going to invite him into a walk and into a trot. And so far I'm thinking, explosive? What are you talking about? This horse isn't explosive. So let's look for some triggers. I'm going to bring out the stock whip. Now the stock whip is just a noise maker. And I can add a lot of energy to anything that I'm doing. See, he's non-reactive to it while he's standing still. Let's see what happens when he's in motion. Oh, that's so good. He's starting to deal with this sort of stick. It's not telling him to go. The stick is just a stick. Just a tool. The stick doesn't make a horse go. He should be able to handle that. And then you might find with your horse when you start doing it, they can't handle that extra motion. He's starting to read that perfectly. Yesterday, that was a different story. It was a much, much different story yesterday. So, what I'm going to do is give him a little bit more rope. And we're going to take him out to a further distance, see if we can find a trigger there. This way we can get him up into a canter, perhaps. Now this is tricky because I've just taught him not to react to my stick. And he's doing a pretty good job of not reacting to my stick. But I do want him to go as well. So we get a little bit of motion. And there's our canter. And even in the canter, he's non-reactive today. Good boy. Whew, what should we name him? He's becoming what I was hoping he'd become. Now yesterday he was really reactive to the saddle, to my stick, to everything. He was calm like this when he started, and then all of a sudden, vroom, he just exploded. I'm going to keep digging, because we might have fixed yesterday's issue. Yesterday's issue was this. This was the trigger. If I flung my stick around while he was in motion, he said, no, I can't do it. We're going to look for another trigger, because that one is already getting good. And I'm going to practice that every day. Make sure he can handle fast, furious energy every day. Why? Because when you're at a show or you're on the trail, things happen fast and furious. They happen out of the blue in a way. So this is another tool I use. It's called a flank rope. It's designed to sort of wrap around his belly, and I can tighten it and loosen it. I don't know if you can see this here. I can just tighten that up and hold it and loosen it, just like the cinch on the saddle, only it's a little further back, because I'm looking for what could trigger him. Imagine if I'm a cowboy and I'm roping a cow and my rope gets tangled around his hind legs or around his belly. I want to see what causes him to explode. And maybe nothing does today because we've gotten through already. But let's find out. I'm going to drive him forward into motion. And then I'm going to pull on that. Oh, good job. No trigger there. Let's see if we can get a reaction in the trot. I don't want a reaction. I just want to see. There it is. There's our explosive behavior. And I'm not pulling hard. I'm really not pulling hard at all. I'm just holding the line off the ground, really. And here's the explosive energy. I want you to watch it. I want you to see that this is not manufactured. This is just a calm horse that suddenly says, I can't do it anymore. Woo! You see that? Out of the blue. Well, of course, we know what the trigger is. It's the rope wrapped around his belly. Now you think, I'm never going to do that to my horse. I don't want to teach him to buck. I'm not teaching him to buck. I'm testing his reliability in scary situations, in high energy situations. I'm using a rope or a flag or a stick to sort of say, can you handle when things go sideways? You need a horse if you want a trail horse or a competition horse. You need a horse that can handle himself when things go sideways so that you can finish the show or go down the trail and be safe, even help your friends when they're not safe, because your horse is so reliable. He's not there yet. He needs to learn to deal with this trigger. Now there's two options. One, I let him just figure it out. And day by day, he gets less and less reactive. That's a really good option. In fact, it's usually the option I would choose, apart from when it's so explosive that I'm afraid they're going to injure themselves. So let's just see which one I should choose to do. Should I help him or should I let him figure it out? Here's what we know so far. If I ask him into the walk and I pull up on this, he stops, non-reactive. He's not afraid of me, just to be clear. Look at this. Totally confident with me. He's not one bit afraid of me. He has a trigger. He has this thing that says, if things get to this point in my life, I shut down. I can't do this anymore. Well, it's not in the walk. It's not in the standstill. Let's see. We believe we know where it's at. It's in the trot. That's where his trigger's at. So we ask him into the trot. We've already seen him walk, trot, and canter with the saddle. We know it's not the saddle. So let's use this rope again. Up into the trot. And I'm going to lift up on that rope. Oh, and he stops. Better response. Much, much, much better response. Try that again. Up into the trot. And I'm going to lift on that rope. And he stops. Whew, much better. Like, if you get in trouble and your horse says, I'm going to just stop for a minute, that'd be a better experience than him saying, I can't do it anymore. Let's see about the fast trot, because when he's going kind of slow, he seems okay. Oh, good job. Good job. Now, let me be clear. As a professional who does this often, I kind of know where the limits are and what I can push, and I'll push them each a little bit each day. I don't want you to come out here and sort of say, well, Don puts a rope around that horse's flank, I'm going to do it too. Just have him carry a rope over his back for a while. Do it in a stage where you can sort of understand it and be clear and be careful. But don't get caught thinking that he's a good, solid horse if you're walking on eggshells around him. So I'm going to push him up here into a trot again. We'll go into a faster trot or maybe a canter. Up we go. Up we go. And there it is. So what should I do here? Should I let him work it out? Or should I help him work it out? Given that he's actually not exploding for too long, I feel like I should let him work it out. Maybe do it a few more times and see. I'm looking for a pattern. If I do this 2 or 3 times and he starts to figure it out, I think maybe I don't have to interrupt him. I don't have to say, no, don't do that anymore. If I do it 2 or 3 times and it's the same as bad each time, I feel like I need to start saying, okay, you need to not do this. Don't do this, please. And I'll actually wiggle my rope in front and shut him down, and I'll say, don't do that. He's a beautiful, sweet, calm horse with a trigger that makes him explode. And I don't want to ride that. I know some people who do want to ride that. But I don't want to ride it. Don't let him come on top of me. And I can let that go and say, good job. Your timing with this is going to be kind of tricky. You know, when to let go, when to hold, how much can you handle, how much can he handle? I don't want to injure him. I don't want to make him fall. I don't want to hurt his joints. It's all these questions. But the basic concept is, if he's got a trigger that makes him explode, should I avoid that so he doesn't ever explode? Or should I teach him to deal with that so that he doesn't ever explode? And of course, I'm of the mindset that I want a solid enough horse that I can present with, perform with, compete with, ride with anybody I want. I don't want to deal with these triggers, so I'm going to help him become not explosive when he feels that rope wrap around his flank or around his hips. Because I can actually move it all over his body like this, and I can wrap it here and see what that feels like to him. I can even put it down on his legs and wrap it. The point is, he needs to feel this strange sensation and not react to it. You know, he doesn't react to this rope that's wrapped around his belly, although I bet he did the first time. And he does react to this rope because it's the first time. Does that make sense? Because it's something he's unfamiliar with and doesn't like. He says, I don't want to do this. And if I avoid the things he doesn't want to do, well, we know where that leads. It leads to a place where we just can't do much because there's a lot of things horses don't want to do. So let's get him trotting again. Let's pull up on that. Good choice. That's him. That's him choosing not to react. Now, what are my chances of having a good ride on him now that he's not reacting? Not very good, because it's only about 50-50 right now. 50% of the time I hit that trigger and he says, I'm out of here. And 50% of the time he says, I think I'm okay. So right now I've got a 50% chance of having a great ride that I can survive. But I don't have a 100% chance. No way. I want you to see how calm I am regarding all of that. I don't care that he's bucking and playing around. I can back him up and set my boundaries and stay safe. What I care is that he learns to quit reacting like that. And if the rope falls off, that's okay. Start over. So many people say, oh, you're teaching him to buck. If you let go at the wrong time, he's going to learn to buck. Let me be clear. If I put him away at the wrong time, he's going to learn to buck. But you can't help but let go sometimes. Sometimes the rope falls off. Sometimes stuff happens and you have to reset. He's a little bit worried about me in this position now, so I'm going to just help him trust that it's okay for me to be back here. Good boy. See, I have to reset. I have to start over in a manner of speaking. That's okay. We've got time. I always have time on our side with a horse. We've got today, we've got tomorrow, we got the next day. Don't be afraid of your horse getting off track and having to start over. Don't be afraid of that. That happens all the time, even to the best of us. But definitely remember to start over. If you don't start over, then he learns the wrong message. Here we go again. Up into a trot. And set the trigger. Oh, good choice. See, we're back to that 50-50. 50% of the time he handles himself and I can pet him and say good job. And 50% of the time he loses it. Set that a little further back. Now this is an older horse. An older horse who has done quite a bit of riding, but always on edge. Everything's walking on eggshells. I help him get forward again. And look at that. Every time I pull on that, he says, no, don't make me buck. I don't like bucking, and I'm not making him buck, but he's learning that it just, on his own, he's learning, it's just no fun. It's just no fun. That rope pulls on me and I buck and buck and buck, and then I stop bucking and the rope quits pulling on me. So, how do I get that rope to quit pulling on me? I stop bucking. Make sure I got his front end here. I just like to do both sides of the horse, just for balance. Drive him up into a trot here. Pull on that rope. There it is. Now I'm going to show you the other method. The other method, rather than let him figure it out, which he did there, he actually figured it out. Rather than let him figure it out, if it's super explosive, I'll show you how I actually ask the horse to stop being explosive. And it's simple. It's a simple boundary game. See how I give him this long rest each time he gets the right idea? Good job. And even if he drops the rope and I have to pick it up and start over, he gets a little bit of a rest to settle his energy, and I can start over and be in a better learning state of mind. That's fine. Let's get him out there going again. This time, I'm actually going to shut him down just so you see it. Just so you have another tool in your tool belt. This time I'm going to say stop, 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 stop. And I'm going to get up in his face. And I'm going to say, back up, back up, back up, back up. Whew. Now that's a lot more energy from me to make that happen. But at least we're learning how to shut down an explosion, because that's one of the things you need if you're riding and your horse becomes explosive. You got to have a way to shut them down, back them up, start over. Of course, you should get off. I mean, I wouldn't want to ride that. You should get off and work on the ground. But in your training, in preparation for your rides, you can teach him to stop, to quit reacting at that level. I'm going to do that 2 or 3 times. Let's see if it helps. I'm going to ask him into that trot. We're going to lift up on that. And then we're going to get up in his face and we're going to say, stop, 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 stop. And he's so explosive. I'm yelling stop because I want you to hear me. He doesn't necessarily hear the word stop or understand it, but I want you to hear what I'm doing. I'm asking him, stop, 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 stop. Don't go anymore. It's taking a lot. It's not very elegant. Normally, I prefer the other method where I say, just go work it out on your own. Just figure it out. And I do it day by day, and he just slowly figures it out. Some horses don't, though. So you need that tool in your tool belt. You need the ability to say, stop, don't do this anymore. When you feel like the world is ending, it's not. And you step up and be that leader and say, quit it. You can handle yourself in this situation. Now, is he ready to put him away and he's had a good day? No, of course not. We're going to do this again. Same thing, I'm saying, stop. Don't go there. And I'm shutting him down. Rather than he's shutting himself down. I prefer the first method, just to be clear. I've said that many times already. But it depends on how quickly they're getting it. How quickly are they understanding that pressure doesn't mean, that trigger doesn't mean go boom and explode like a bomb. Oh, you're a sweet, natured horse. You just have a little trigger in there that says, I can't do it anymore. And you might think you could ride him because you're not going to ride with a rope strapped around his hindquarters. So it should be safe to ride. Wrong. It's only safe to ride when everything's perfect. When the energy spikes and the horses run past you on the side of the road, or a car drives past and the truck and trailer drive past, blah, 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 and rattles down, something's going to trigger him and he'll become that explosive again. So the whip, the flag, the tarp, the rope, they're all just tools. Tools to sort of say, can you handle this extra energy that, came at you out of the blue and it's unfamiliar to you? Can you handle it? We go again, up into the trot. Can you feel that? And you make a better choice like that? Now, if you're a professional and you're watching this, you're watching a lot of little mistakes I make. Some of them on purpose, because I'm trying to highlight a concept and an idea. I don't need you to be perfect about this. I don't need you to have perfect feel and perfect timing and perfect positioning. See, he faces me every time. He shouldn't. In the end, he should be able to feel that pressure and stay on track, not turn around and look at me. That's not the point of the lesson, though. The point of this lesson is look for a trigger and expose your horse to that trigger. Is it the tarp? And you say, no, he's fine with the tarp. Well, how is he with the tarp when he's trotting or cantering? Oh, there's a trigger there. Is he okay with a rope? Yeah, he was fine. Did you see? He was absolutely fine with this rope in the walk and in the trot. He was fine with it. Look at that. When he slows down, he's fine with it. When he speeds up, he's not. Look at that. He doesn't stay in the right position that I want, but he's learning not to react. And that is the point of the lesson. And if I could get 2 or 3 non-reactive cycles, now it's kind of hard to get him going now because he's like, why would I go? Got to put his nose over there to make him go. If I could get 2 or 3 non-reactive cycles, I just lift on that. And that means slow down and relax. Woo! Yeah, baby! Now I'm getting to a point where I think, I could end today. Put that nose out there. And let's try it at the trot again. Non-reactive. Again, I'm making some professional miniature mistakes. So those of you who are professionals watching this, you'll see them. You'll see that really he should be stopping without facing me. He should learn to sort of be parallel to me or perpendicular and walk and that kind of stuff. I'm going to put this back on his hindquarters a little further because that was another trigger. And you might think, no, put him away while everything's good. Don't upset him. Well, that all depends on how much energy you and he have to keep going, because it's not about walking on eggshells and avoiding things. This is about exposing things. What do you think of that? He's starting to figure it out. He's starting to figure out that this sensation doesn't mean anything. Oh, even when I put it in a new place, he didn't react. So what does that tell me? Look at it, he's dragging it around here. Let's see what he thinks of it dragging. It tells me that he's finally mentally making a shift away from those triggers. He's saying, I'm scared, I don't like it, I hate this, I don't want this. In the beginning, and now he's saying, I don't know what it is, but I'm okay. I mean, that kind of sucks, but I'm okay. And that's the horse that's non-reactive, that I think, I want to ride that horse. I'm not going to ride him today. But, that horse that can handle the stock whip and the noises of the day and the ropes and the flags Non-reactive. That's the horse I want to get on and I want to be safe on. I'm getting about I'm better than 50-50 now. Those last 3 times were 100%, but that doesn't mean I'm 100% for the day. I need to come out here and have 100% non-reactivity with those triggers, whether it's the tarp or the flag or the whip or the rope. I need to come out and have 0 reactivity for a couple of days in a row before I think now my horse is 100% and I should be able to go. And by the way, just so you know, just going to end with this concept so you understand. If he's good in here, that doesn't mean he's good out there in the open field. So in a few days, when he really masters this idea of non-reactivity to triggers and no more explosiveness, I'm going to take him out to open spaces and test him in the same manner. And if he can handle himself out in the open, maybe out in the herd with other horses running around, then I've got a horse that I can truly trust not to react when the stuff hits the fan, so to speak. That's my true blue. So help me make a name for this horse. And thank you for watching. My name is Don Jessup, and I will see you again soon.